It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome, welcome. It's the Jill on Money show. We are delighted that you are joining us today. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. As a reminder, I am Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst and a certified financial planner. Mark Talercio is operating his magic from behind the wall. Okay, it's not a wall. It's a virtual wall. Mark is also a certified financial planner, so you get two CFPs helping you figure out what the next best decision you can make in your financial life. If you have a question you'd like us to chime in, just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. It's in the little blue box, and we'd be happy to field that question. If you want to join us on the program, then just check the box. Says, hey, yeah, I am willing to come on the air. That's what Vanessa did. Vanessa is on the line in Pittsburgh. Hi, Vanessa. How can we help you out?
So my parents are a little bit older. They are 71 and 73 years old. Both are retired. I'm one of three girls. So one sister handles the medical stuff. One sister is the executor of all this stuff. And I help my parents with their financial stuff. We all have our assigned roles.
I love it.
I recently went with my mom to meet with her financial planner that she's been working with at the local bank. He seems like a really nice guy. And based on his conversation with my mom initially, he put her into some annuities. Now, the initial conversation was she did not want to lose any money. She does not have the stomach for the stock market. You know, she puts money in CDs or she puts money in her savings account. And then, of course, these annuities that she has. So one of these annuities is coming up for renewal. And I'm just wondering if there's something better that we can put her in that, or maybe keep her in the annuity. I don't know, you know, what her best approach would be. But she did receive the paperwork that said that if she renews it, that she would be getting 1%.
Eek. That's not good. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your parents. You said they're retired. Are they receiving Social Security right now?
Yeah, so my dad has a pension and they're both getting Social Security. And truthfully, that has been enough money to fund their monthly expenses. Oh. So this money that she has in the annuity is really just money that she's keeping eventually, I don't know, for us to inherit or for her grandkids to inherit.
Let's see how good a job you are at the chief financial officer of their lives. And then you'll see if you'll inherit it. You know, like she might say, you did a lousy job, you're out. No, I'm just kidding. So how much money are we talking about right now between your parents? Break it down. What money is in savings, what's in CDs, and what's in the annuities?
They have about $50,000 in cash between their savings account and their checking account. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, my dad gets his pension and they get their Social Security checks. And this money has just been basically accumulating because it more than pays for their monthly expenses. So they've just been keeping that in the savings. They have an IRA annuity through Nationwide that has about $20,000 in it. And that's a different situation that if we have time, maybe you can help me with that one too. Mm-hmm. But the one that she has through Principal is just a straight up annuity and it has $41,350 in it.
Okay. And is there any money in CDs right now or not?
I don't think she has any money in CDs, but she does have money in a regular IRA that she got through the bank, which is making 0.02% interest. And that has about $7,000 in it.
And is that the only retirement asset that they have besides there's an IRA annuity, there's an IRA account? Is there an old 401k, a 403b, anything else that's out there?
No, nothing like that.
How is this financial advisor paid? By commission or by a fee?
I don't know how he's paid. He says he works for the bank and it's a service that the bank is providing to their customers, which is how my mom, got in with him.
He's probably getting paid a commission on what he sells. And that's why he likes the annuity world. And the annuity that she has, this non-qualified principal annuity, is it a fixed account? In other words, you said that she'd only be getting 1% if she renewed. So it's a fixed annuity. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that they have purchased through him?
Yeah, so they have the Nationwide, the IRA annuity that they purchased through him, and he also sold them a variable universal life insurance for $50,000, which
my God.
I don't know exactly what that is, but it includes a long-term care benefit and a 4% death benefit.
And they made that lump sum. They just popped it in there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let me peel back the onion. Big picture, this guy's not a financial advisor. He's a salesman at a bank. And for everyone listening, it doesn't necessarily mean these people are bad people, but their structure is crap. It is crap. And the reason is that he is incented to sell you or your parents. He is incented to sell product with commissions. And it is an old-fashioned way of doing business. It's not the best way to do it anymore. So the first thing that I would tell you is that your parents don't have a financial advisor. There's a salesperson. And every time there's a possible sale that takes place, you should be involved in this. This is very smart for you to be involved. So now, getting to the big picture and going down from the big picture to your actual question, because they have Social Security and pensions and enough to pay their way, they probably never needed this the variable universal life policy, which is essentially, it's a life insurance policy with a component that allows you to invest. That's the variable part. And oddly enough, considering that your mother is actually very risk averse, this was a terrible product for her. Terrible, because there's a ton of risk in these products and they're very expensive. So if I were starting over, let me start with this big premise, which is, are you ready to take over the management of these assets now? You, Vanessa, can you do this?
Yes. The only thing that I'm a little nervous about is if she loses money.
No, she's not going to lose money. Don't worry about that. We're going to make it easy for her because she's going to keep the savings account at the bank. She's going to have her $50,000. So right now there are 2 IRA accounts. Okay. Mm-hmm. There is the IRA that's with the $7,000. There's the IRA annuity. Do you happen to know how long ago that she bought that Nationwide annuity?
From what I understand, I don't know exactly how long ago she did it, but she can terminate it without any.
No, so there's no, okay. So there's no fee for getting out of it because we've already passed the period by which they would charge a fee. Okay. Do you manage your own money? Your own mom. Do you manage your own money?
I do. Yeah. I use Vanguard.
Perfect. Okay. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to open up an account at Vanguard for your mom. You're going to open up an IRA account. And you are going to, the 2 assets that are going to flow into that, and Vanguard will walk you through it. It will be the Nationwide IRA annuity and the old IRA that's getting, bupkis, 0.2%. So that $27,000 is going to be it's going to be called Mom's Vanguard IRA. Okay, we'll get back to Vanessa's question in just a minute. During the break, here's what I want you to do. Go to JillOnMoney.com and just bookmark it. That's it. That's all I'm asking. During this break, bookmark it. JillOnMoney.com. We will be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are broadcasting from the Capital One Bank virtual studios. Capital One, this is Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet? And we are here just trying to help you get to the next best place. A lot of financial programs, especially personal financial programs, they want to go back and beat you up a little bit about your past actions or even your current actions. The only thing I'm probably going to beat you up about is not having your estate planning done. I'm just going to put it out there. It's just one of the bugaboos for me. I really want you to take care of it. Other than that, we are trying to just help you guys understand that you've got choices. And those choices can sometimes be daunting. Sometimes all of that choice makes you almost paralyzed, like you just can't do anything with it. And sometimes you don't know the next best place to go. And so we are happy to help you out. It can be any kind of financial question. I mean, we are coming into the last bit of tax season, just a couple weeks to go. But it may be about investments, and maybe it is about retirement, or maybe you are weighing a new job offer. Whatever the situation is, we really would like to help you out. So the way that we do that is we ask you to go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Now, that'll be very easy for you because I said right before the break that you should go to the website and bookmark it. Now that it's bookmarked, whenever you have a financial question, whatever that question is, we're there for you. So you go to JillOnMoney.com and you click the contact button. Now, while you're on the website, you know, there's lots of other stuff we do. We have other programs. We have 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money. One is called Eye on Money. And we also have a lot of other content, video stuff, my TV appearances, and a blog. So check it all out. Okay, now let's get back to Vanessa. We're talking about her parents and what she can do to help them out. You know, because she really does not want to have a lot of risk. Maybe she'd have a tiny bit. I don't know if she'd be willing to say like, I'll put 20% in, but you can just have a kind of very, very low risk short-term bond fund and intermediate bond fund for like 80% of the money, and 20% you could throw into a stock market index. If you could say to her, like, would you be willing to have 20% risk? You should have that conversation with her first. Otherwise, just put it all in safe stuff and don't look back. You're done. That's fine. So the non-qualified annuity that's coming due is a little more problematic. The money that went into that annuity is her cost basis. Any interest that has been credited to that account would increase her cost basis. When the money comes out, the difference between the total amount of money that comes out and the cost basis is taxable income to your parents. And I'm not saying you shouldn't get out of it, because you should. There's no reason to keep this. But before you do it, you want to ask the advisor, and you can even, this is actually a normal question to ask. Just say like, hey, what's our tax liability if we want to take the money out? Because we may want to take the money out and like fix up our house or something. Just, you can very plainly say, what is the tax liability? You want to know that. And then you want to make sure you have the money set aside so you can pay taxes next year. So again, money that you have in an annuity, it is protected. But when it's non-qualified, as soon as it comes out of that annuity environment, any of the money that has accumulated is ordinary income to your folks. Okay? No big deal though. So now I'm going to ignore the tax. So let's say that comes out and now there's $90,000 in savings. Okay. What level of savings do you think mom feels comfortable with?
I think she likes having that 50,000 base.
But the other 40, not such a big deal, right?
Yeah.
They own their own home?
They do.
And is there a mortgage outstanding?
Nope.
Any other debt, car loan, anything like that?
No.
So
Nothing.
there's 2 things that you can do. One is that you can just open up a CD for that extra $40,000 to give her an extra level of comfort. And the other thing you could do is that, you can shop around for that. You don't have to do it at this bank. You could, not a problem if they have a good rate, but you can go to depositaccounts.com and just pop it into but I would do a longer term CD because they keep accumulating cash. Otherwise, you could open up a Vanguard, a brokerage account for your folks and then say, well, we can have cash in here or we can make it a low risk thing. But if they feel comfortable with it at the bank, I don't think that's a problem. I think the fixed variable universal life is going to be more problematic, because that may be subject to a surrender period. Do you know when they bought that one?
Right around the same time. So it's been at least 5 years, I would say.
Okay. And the reason I ask this is that variable universal life tends to have a very long surrender period. Mm-hmm. Meaning that there's often a fee associated with these policies for not just 5 years. It can be 7, 10, sometimes 12 years. So we should find out how much of a percentage fee you would get to get out of that thing. And also we'd want to find out, is there some comfort that your parents have in having this universal life insurance policy? Probably it's helpful to them, but I don't even see that they need like a long-term care option because they have, they've got money. What happens to the pension? Well, if your father dropped dead tomorrow, would your mom get some portion of his pension?
Yes.
Yes.
And she would get, they would do some kind of thing with Social Security too.
Yeah.
His Social Security is more. So.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. They probably never needed this policy at all, but I don't want to blow out of it until we find out like what are the fees associated and what's the tax liability. Again, if it gives them great comfort that there is a certain amount of sunk cost, is it a principal or a nationwide product?
John Hancock?
I used to love variable universal life insurance when I was a young advisor. Why? Because the capital gains rate was the exact same as the ordinary income tax rate. So that when you put money into these policies, it was sheltered from taxation for a really long time. And you could pop in. We used them actually as supplemental retirement funding. But when the capital gains rate dropped down dramatically, the use of a variable universal life insurance policy really was different. Like you couldn't use them anymore. And I was kind of screwed because, as a young advisor, I was like, oh no, we have these old policies. So we started transferring people out of them because they didn't make sense anymore. Because again, the money you make in these things, obviously if they die with it, then the death benefit is not taxable. But if you're using it for an investment, the money you're earning, the accumulation is not at a capital gains rate. It's at ordinary income rate. And that's a drag. And right now, capital gains rate is much lower than ordinary income for everyone. So all that being said, I don't want to go nuts with this if we are going to have getting whacked with fees. But I really would like you to save yourself the anxiety of going to talk to a commission-based broker who's going to keep selling you stuff because that's just what they do. Your folks have done a great thing. They worked their whole lives. They did what they were supposed to do. They saved, they had money in the bank, and these bank piranhas came after them, and they couch it in the form of, we have this financial advisor, and this is not a fiduciary. This is not a certified financial planner who has to put your needs first. This is somebody who I think probably at his core wants to do right, but only has a limited number of tools that he's allowed to use. I always say it's sort of like saying, I'm going into a Honda dealership. And I say, what's the best car for me? And amazingly, they're always going to say some Honda. It's not as if that person at the Honda dealership is going to say, you know what, Jill, you really should go to Toyota. They got a better car for you for what you're describing. That doesn't happen. And it's the same thing with these kinds of brokers. They don't tell you that there are other ways that you can do the things that you say you want to do. And so that's what makes me angry about it. It's unnecessary. I think you're a wonderful daughter for doing this and taking this on because I know it's a bit fraught. But if there is anything, like if I can talk to your mom about this to make it a little bit easier, if she's freaking out, I'm happy to do that as well.
Could I ask another quick question?
Sure.
So if she continues with the annuity from Principal with the $41,000 in it, and they're guaranteeing her the 1%, if I can't find a CD that offers a better rate than that, should she just stay in the annuity? Would there be a problem with doing that? Is there something hidden that I don't see?
Probably, because what's happening with that annuity is that there's also a fee inside of it that's eating up the money that they're guaranteeing you by the cost of the annuity itself. Okay, if you're a concerned child of parents who you think need some help financially, we're here for you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the contact button, and we are going to get that question, and Mark is going to try to get you on the air. Okay, we will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we love hearing from you. If you've got a comment, if you have a question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and hit the Contact Us button. That is what Neil did. Neil is joining us from the Capital One Bank virtual studios. Capital One, this is Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet? All right, Neil, what's going on? What can we do for you?
All right. Well, I'm trying to figure out how best to use debt. This is kind of new for me. So we just bought a house a little over a year ago, and we are working on building a detached accessory dwelling unit, another unit on the property. And we've got financing for it, but we're trying to figure out how exactly to use that financing and how to pay it off and how to treat that debt compared to mortgage debt, which we know and are comfortable keeping our low mortgage debt without paying that off quickly. But just really trying to figure out, do we start spending out of that? Do we start spending out of cash or brokerage? Where do we start spending for this bigger project?
How much is the house worth?
The house is worth around $775.
How much is the outstanding mortgage balance?
$295.
Oh, you have so much equity. Why is that?
We got really lucky. We live in a town where house values kind of exploded, and we did a lot of work on the house. So when we got it appraised for the loan, we were a little shocked.
Holy smoke. What'd you buy it for a year ago?
I don't know if you want to know. $375.
Yes, I do. How much?
$375.
Shut the front door. Are you
doubled in 1 year?
We basically won the lottery.
You did.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
The combination of everything lined up, and we're exactly where we want to be. We're in our town. We're in the town with family, and we're
Amazing.
so lucky.
Fantastic. So, the $295. What's the rate on that mortgage?
2.75.
You're not paying that off.
No.
How much will it cost us to build the detached unit?
We think it'll be somewhere between $200 and $230.
And when you said you've secured financing, did you just get like an equity line against your house, or did you actually get a loan amount for the detached unit?
We didn't assume that it was going to be a possibility to use equity to build a project like this, but because we didn't think we'd have equity a year into a project, but we did. So we were able to get a HELOC on the house for up to $250,000.
And nothing is outstanding yet. In other words,
Nope.
it's okay. And the interest rate is what, some formula based on what exactly?
Some formula, prime plus a certain amount that's currently 3.5%, and so it's variable, but kind of at a floor of 3.5%.
And then if you look at this couple $100,000 that you have to spend, like how quickly can you get this done?
We think that this project would be done somewhere in the next 18 months.
So there's no reason to pull anything down on the line. You have it, it's outstanding, it's done. And it's,
Right.
and so that's fine. So let's talk about the other assets that you guys have and how much you earn.
My partner is a teacher, and she makes about $65,000 a year. And I work for an environmental nonprofit and make about $45,000 a year. We save a lot. We, between all of our accounts, save around $60,000 or $70,000 a year.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. How is that possible? You make $110,000 a year and you save $60,000? My God, it's amazing. Do you guys each have retirement accounts through work?
Yeah. So I have that's simple. My partner has 457 or 403B. I'm not sure which one. Between the non-taxable, the 457 and the simple IRA, we have a combined 162. And then in the Roth IRAs and her Roth 457, because she splits her contributions, we have 195.
Oh my God. How old are you guys?
29 and 30.
What about kids? Any kids yet?
No kids yet. That's part of the construction project. Part of how we're able to be frugal too. We're living in this house with roommates, and so building the ADU is an exciting goal to be able to move into that space.
You can't just shove your kid into that detached unit. I just want to say that that's something that you have to really remember right there and there. How much money is in emergency reserves?
So we don't spend very much. So the month lead time for emergency reserves is about $15,000. And then we have like 25 in taxable brokerage accounts, and between checking and savings right now, we're probably also close to 15,000 because of how the school pays during the summer. They give you all of your summer paychecks in June. So
right, big lump sum. Yeah. If you were to kind of drabble this out a little bit, I mean, the thing about a home equity line of credit, which I am inclined to use also, but I'm also inclined to use your cash flow to help as well. And the only reason I'm saying that is, today 3.5% seems fine. However, it is also quite possible that we are entering a higher interest rate environment in the future. So it's not a terrible idea to try to not necessarily take all this money out at once, like a little bit at a time, and see how you do. I don't know how the money's going to come out for you guys. Like, I don't know if it's like, well, we actually need 50 grand to get started. But some combination thereof, I think is fine. And I think that, depending on how things go and how quickly things move along, that using the HELOC is going to be fine. And then you're just going to have to, the money that was going into the non-retirement savings is just going to have to go very aggressively into paying down that debt, because that number is going to go up. It really is. We'll get back to Neil's question in just a second. If you've got a home equity situation that you want help with, we're here for you, or anything else. It's JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com. Hit the contact button, and we are going to get that message. Don't forget to let us know if you want to come on the air. Mark does all the work. It's so much more fun when you come on the air. Okay, we will be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And, the real estate market has gone pretty nutso since the beginning of COVID. I don't think anyone could have anticipated that the amount of housing stock would remain so low for so long, and that demand would surge, and all the weird dynamics of COVID really made real estate this unexpected repository of huge amounts of money. And that means for a lot of you, you've got money that is accumulating in equity. What are you going to do with that equity? Is it a construction project? Is it that you need to use that equity to make a different decision in your life? Well, we are talking to Neil in Oregon, who essentially has a question around that equity, but it does bring up a question for you, which is, am I squandering all the equity that I have been building up for the last however many years you lived in your house? Is there something else you want to consider? Could be the key. Your equity can be the key to maybe achieving something different. Okay, let's get back to Neil.
So we'll spend down some of that liquid chunk of checking, savings, and brokerage, and then jump into the HELOC. And then as soon as we can, just pay it down because of the variable rate. It's
exactly.
You don't want to get stuck with it.
Right, exactly. And not that I think that rates are going to 10%, but I think that generally it's sort of widely accepted that rates are heading higher. And it may not be that much higher, but I think because you're natural savers and you do live frugally, I think you're going to feel more comfortable if you keep the HELOC a bit more in check. So, you see how it goes also, right? I mean, we don't know really how quickly this is all going to happen. When you're working with contractors, I would always give bonuses based on, I would say are you going to do this yourself, or are you going to hire a general contractor? How are you going to do some of this stuff?
Yeah, we're pretty connected with people in the trade, so we're going to general contract ourselves.
Okay, great. And then you can say to some of these tradespeople, which I've done a million times, and also you're going to have a little bit of a break because since you're not starting this second, the whole shortage of building materials should be loosened up by the time you start. But you can say to people like, hey, you know what, buddy? Like, I will give you a chunk of money up front, but you got to get it done by this, or I'll give you a bonus of this if you get it done by this time. Because I think the problem with these projects is they can really drag on. And I don't think you want that. And I certainly don't think you want to live like that, especially if you're going to have kids. And Will, what is going to happen in this detached unit? Like, in other words, is this going to be like an office? Is this going to be a rental? What's going to happen in that?
So it's actually going to be a 800 square foot, 2-bedroom home. And so the plan is that we would actually move into it because it's going to be new and nice, and we're going to make all of the decisions in it.
Yes.
So I think we're going to be pretty happy in there. So we're going to move in there, and then we're going to rent out the house.
Oh my God. And then what do you think the cash flow from the rent will be?
It's a big question. We just got a short-term rental permit, so we might go that route. We might go long-term, but right now we could rent the house for $3,000 a month.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Oh my God. It's fantastic. I love this game plan.
You just use that money and whack down the line.
Exactly. That loan is going to get paid off in like no time. Easy peasy.
Neil's been on the show with us before. I remembered him about halfway through. I remember where he's from.
When I called before, we were renting and trying to decide whether to buy. And I tried to look back on that call because you had asked me the question that you always ask somebody, how much would a house cost that you would want to live in?
Yeah.
And the amount that I told you then would not buy you a piece of land in our town anymore.
But the funny thing is, it did buy you that.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. So the beauty of this is that you jumped when you knew what you could get.
Right.
And I mean, if you had to go spend, $750,000 on a house right now, you wouldn't be able to do this. You would not be able to live, Mr. Nonprofit, environmental guy with teacher. You're not getting into a $775,000 house. It's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable. And I mean, the reason why this all works so beautifully is number one, you turn this into a rental property with a 2.75% note. And guys, when you're thinking about rental, like, when you go get a mortgage and it's actually already income producing property, you don't get that cheaper rate ever. Never, never, never. So that's number one. Number two, you've got the whole idea around like, I'm living frugally. And frankly, if this all works out, and it will, I think, you're living in a place that you can also really carry so easily. So it, to me, is simply just like the beautiful game plan. Like, I think that you are not only going to have this fantastic life, I think there's also a really cool opportunity to flip back into the main house in the future, which is also fantastic.
Yeah, that was one of our main goals when we were looking for a place, was something that either had a weird feature, was on a hill where you could easily carve out a chunk of the house to make another unit to rent, or to be able to build. But building new construction is really expensive, so we were a little nervous about it. But once we looked at these numbers and had equity to pay for it, because it's hard to come up with cash with a couple $100,000 in cash.
Yeah,
we were pretty thrilled.
If you, like Neil, have a question about how to finance a construction project, just give us a holler. JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back. You're back, and it's Jill on Money. Before we finish out the hour, we want to answer one more question. This one is from Carolyn. Now, by the way, if you want to ask your question, don't forget, JillOnMoney.com, hit the contact button. Okay, back to Carolyn, who writes, I have an old frozen pension with my current employer. This summer, those of us who have this money need to decide what to do with it. I just want to point out that Carolyn didn't actually give me a lot of options about what they could do with it. So let me just put that out there. Now, Carolyn continues and writes, since our mortgage is on the lower side, I think she means the amount that she owes is on the lower side, $150,000 is what's outstanding. She writes, would it be better to pay off our mortgage and suffer the tax hit from pulling the money out of the pension? Ooh, no, I don't think this is a good idea, Carolyn. You don't mention what the rate on your mortgage is, but more importantly, I'm not sure why, if you're still working, why would you want to take that tax hit now? I mean, essentially, what I would hope you could do is take that old frozen pension and roll it over. If your employer will not allow you to roll it over into the current 401k, then just open up an IRA rollover. The money that's in the old pension can roll in there and you can invest it for the long term. Again, there's no need to pay off that mortgage right now. And if there's something else that I'm missing, please just follow up with us. But I don't love the idea of pulling money out, paying tax on it, losing access to it just to pay down the mortgage. I know emotionally it can feel better, but those emotions, man, they usually lead us astray. Okay, if you've got a question about a pension, about a mortgage pay down, about anything going on in your financial life, just give us a holler. You can do that by going to our website, JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and you can hit the contact button. While you're there, check out our other broadcasts, our podcasts, 2 of them, Eye on Money and Jill on Money. Okay, we'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of Jill on Money. We're here to try to make the topic of money and financial matters a little less boring, a little less daunting, a little less emotional, because it can be loaded. We get that. And one of the reasons that Mark and I try to have a little bit more fun than, say, the normal money show, and not start to talk about how to get rich quick, but how to kind of make fun of ourselves in the process and just get where we need to go, is that we want to demystify this topic for you. We want to take a lot of the energy out of this that is negative. We want to really make you understand that by and large, there are steps to take to help you achieve what you want to do. So if you've got a financial question, go to JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Right now, we're going to talk to Brianne in the Bay Area, who this is now our second time of chatting with her. So we're going to get an update on what's going on with Brianne. How are your parents doing? You had called about them. So tell us, catch us up, why you called about them and how they're doing now.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on again. It's great. I realized that you guys probably needed an update since it had been several years since I'd called in. So they were not in great shape financially when I called in, and I hadn't really known the extent of the problem. My father had retired. My mother was looking to retire. They had not gotten wills or any estate planning together, so I'd been harassing them for about 13 years prior to that, before I finally made an appointment with a lawyer just to get it done. And I went up to have that done with them. And then during that process, realized kind of where their financials were at, because they were starting to tell me where all of the accounts were, because I'm the executor. My mother was ready to retire at that point, and just looking at it, I thought, she's probably not ready. Let's call Jill and see what she thinks. And you said at the time, probably not a great idea. So we went with that. So she actually just retired at the beginning of this year. And it's amazing. So I've taken over their finances, which I don't necessarily recommend children to do. But sometimes you have to help the people that you love when you have a skill that they don't have. So essentially they get an allowance to cover all of the expenses, any entertainment needs, all those types of things. But we've been able to save a bunch of money. Now, they were in debt. That's all been paid off. And things are looking a lot better. We've done some home improvements. And so I feel better about where they're at. They were also in some really terrible investments at the time, listening to some kind of crazy people. And so I've moved all of their money over to Vanguard, which has been much better for them.
Brianne, you have gone into full-on role reversal on this aspect of your parents and your life. So it's fantastic. Kudos to you. Great job. Awesome. Is there any pushback that you get, or are your parents seeing the wisdom of those decisions that they were making?
Oh, they are so appreciative. Honestly, it's gone a little further than I would like. Now they're really relying on me for a lot more things that they could both do. I work full time, and they call and say, "Hey, can you order this on Amazon for me?"
Stop it!
No.
Hey,
you got to. Can you find a contractor for this job for me? So they've definitely, gone a little bit over the edge in kind of relinquishing their adult duties.
I just applaud you, and I think your parents are very lucky to have you, but your father's only 66, so he's got to get on some of this stuff. And your mom's only 71. They can do all those things, but I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad you have a great relationship. So what brings you, besides our update, which is fantastic, tell us, what can we do for you today?
Yeah, so I figured now that I've got their financial lives in shape, I just had a couple of questions about mine. Obviously, you can tell that I am, kind of a personal finance nerd. I listen to you obsessively. I read a bunch of personal finance books. I actually have a personal finance resource group that I run at my job for other people. But I'm also a single woman, and I do have that, constant worry of, am I going to be able to afford retirement, which I know you have said I should not worry about in the way that I worry. But I just wanted to make sure that I'm on the right track and that I'm making the right decisions. So for my financial picture, I actually turned 41 tomorrow.
Woo! Congratulations. The FU 40s. It's great.
So I live in the Bay Area. I own my own home, which I'm very proud of. I bought a house by myself at 34. So it's worth about $1 million. I owe a little under $500,000 on it now.
Okay. What's the interest rate on the mortgage?
3%. Great.
And it's 30-year or 15 or 20?
It's 30-year.
Okay. Got it. Great. Perfect.
I have a really good income. I make $194,000 with a 20% bonus every year.
Whoa.
How are you single? Well,
yeah, exactly. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. That was brilliant. Brilliant. She's single. She makes like $250 a year. She's got a house. Things are good in our lives here with Brianne, in the world of Brianne. So far, so good. Fantastic. And on your 240-ish, are you maxing out your retirement contribution? I presume yes, nerd.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we don't get a company match, and I complain about it every year. Great. And I try to get other people to complain about it as well, because I think that it's something that we should get.
Absolutely.
And then I put in a little extra money into an IRA with a robo-advisor, just $100 a month, because when I started it, I hadn't had an option for a Roth in my 401k. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just put a little money in and do a Roth backdoor at some point in the future.
Okay.
So there's $7,600 in that, not a whole lot.
Okay.
And I also put $200 a month just into an investment account with that robo-advisor.
Which robo are you using?
I use Wealthfront.
Okay. And you like them?
I like them, yeah. I signed up when they started, and it's kind of just like fun money that I don't care about, and just let them.
How much is in the investment account now?
Just $6,500.
Okay. And emergency reserve?
$60,000 in cash, which covers a year's of expenses.
Great.
And then other savings accounts that I use to, pay for all of my home improvements, because I own a 1920s bungalow in the Bay Area. So
perfect. It sounds great. Plenty of room for me and Mark. That's great.
Absolutely.
How much money is in the 401k right now?
So I still have money in my old 401k because their investment options were better. So I've got $353,000 there, and probably about $84,000 in my current.
Okay, great. We'll get back to our conversation with Brianne in just a second. During the break, hop on to JillOnMoney.com and check out all the content, the blogs, the videos. There's so much there. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are just desperate to hear more from you. At any financial question that's on your mind, it can be investments, it can be taxes, it could be retirement, it could be college funding, it could be education for yourself, whatever. I want to know about this. This is by far the most fun that Mark and I have all week long. I mean, poor Mark, all he does is hear my voice every single day, editing. You know, this isn't our only program. We've got 2 other shows. We've got 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money. The other is called Eye on Money. And Mark edits everything. Also spots that I read for these different broadcasts. So, pity poor Mark. Anyway, we do want to hear from you. And we love it when you send us your question and then also you agree to come on the program with us, because it's much more fun. And, you know, there's always like a little bit beneath the surface of the actual question that we get to once you come on the air. So again, go to JillOnMoney.com, click on the Contact Us button, say that you'll come on the air. Mark does everything else. And then you will find that you too will be broadcasting with us from the Capital One Bank virtual studios. Capital One, this is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Okay, now we need to get back to Brianne from the Bay Area, her second conversation with us, but we're going to finish up with her and let's talk a little bit about her remodeling project. Is there anything on the horizon that requires money to be spent, not just your regular upkeep for your home, but I mean, is there anything, do you need a car? Do you need to do something in that home? Is anything going on in a big way in the next year or so or not?
Yeah, so I've slowly been kind of every year with my bonus and with whatever else I save, I do one kind of fairly big home project, but I still have the entire interior to do. So everything on the exterior is now done. But I've been thinking of trying to get this interior remodel done sooner rather than later so that I can enjoy it. And so with my current mortgage rate at 3%, and I know that rates are still great,
Mhm.
I've been thinking about doing a cash out refi to get a little bit of that money to finish this work. Kind of was wondering what your thoughts are on that.
How much do you think you need for the interior remodel?
I am not sure because I haven't had any contractors come look at it, but best guess would probably be $100,000 to $150,000. This is the Bay
Okay.
Area. Everything is
Yeah,
expensive
no,
here.
of course. And if you can get anybody.
Exactly.
And if you can get the materials. So interesting. Okay. I mean, you could do a cash out refi. Have you looked around at rates right now or not?
Yeah, they're just a little bit higher than 3%.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. The whole thing isn't terrible. But what about just doing, because these projects do tend to drag on some, should we do a line of credit, Mark? What do you think? Are we better off doing a line? Because I feel like the line of credit's easy and cheap, meaning cheap to establish, right? You're not going to pay a big bunch of fees and all that. You have plenty of equity. Maybe if you just got let's just call it a $200,000 line of credit available, and then you draw it down as you need it. You could pay it back faster if you want. But Mark, what do you think about the line versus the refi?
For me personally, I know my personality. I'm going the line of credit.
Because why?
Just it's more simplistic.
And also, by the way, I mean, you don't have to do the whole, the beauty of the line is that if things get stuck in terms of timing, you are not sitting around with a couple $100,000 or $100,000 sitting in cash earning zero.
Yeah.
And I just think that this is essentially what a line of credit was built for, as a product, is exactly this situation. How much are you save a lot of money. I get that. But when you look at your cash flow every month, what do you figure is sort of left over once you've done your retirement contributions, paid every single bill? Give me that number without saying you've put the money in the IRA or the investment account or cash account. Like, what is the net of where we are?
It's probably about $1,500 a month or so.
Right now, I would be building up my cash account. I'd go to your existing. Who holds the note on the $500,000 right now?
A local credit union.
Oh, fantastic. I would go to them and say, you want a line of credit? I would go straight back to them and I would say, I need a line of credit to do this work. That's how I would do it. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, and you can just build up some cash to start the process. Maybe you won't even need to use the whole line.
The only thing that I worry about is interest rates on those, since they can fluctuate.
I'm not as concerned. Yes, rates are going to fluctuate.
Okay.
But so what? Even if you had to just right now, you have a bunch of cash and I don't know, you're going to plan this project out. You're going to build your cash position up. I bet by the time you start the project, you're going to have more like $75,000 in cash or maybe 80. When do you get your bonus, by the way?
In April of every year.
If you start this process now, at the very worst case, you're going to get that bonus and you'll be able to smack down part of the loan but I don't think rates are moving on you that fast. Okay. That's why I would do it sooner rather than later. I think it's easy. I think you're going to be able to do this. I know it's okay to be a nervous Nelly. I am too, but you're going to get this chunk of money in. You know that you're saving every single month. You're the perfect person to have a line. The ones that I worry about a line are the ones that are like, yeah, I'm just going to take the whole line out and I'm going to put it in the market. And yeah, I think that's a great, that's not what you're doing. You're being I think this is a very reasonable plan of action. I really do. I mean, I get that you want to do you're making a non-deductible IRA contribution. Is that right?
Correct.
Right. Okay. I feel like you don't have to do that right away. I presume because the no match company, they also don't have a Roth option on their 401k.
So they do actually now. And so in my previous company, that's when I started the Roth or the IRA, just to do the backdoor, because I didn't have anything in a Roth. Now with my current company that I've been out for about 3 years, they do have a Roth option. So I was splitting it 50-50. I think I just moved it up to 70-30 with Roth. But yeah, I would love a little bit more guidance there too.
Because Mark's going to be like, all Roth, 100% Roth.
Keep going. Make that 70-100.
Yeah, he would like you to be, because your highest tax bracket, as a singleton, you are in, well, listen, Mark, she is in the, She's in a high tax bracket.
I'm in a high tax bracket and a high tax state.
And a high tax state. I'm fine with 70. It's fine. Keep it. Listen to him. He's going, Because listen, Mark, with that bonus, her top rate is 35% and she's in California.
You know me, Ed Slott converted me a long time ago. I don't even think about the taxes. I want some Roth money come retirement.
Well, she's going to have some Roth money. 70-30 is fine. I'm okay with that.
The IRA contributions you've been making, you've been converting them as you're going, or it's all in traditional still?
Oh, great question. It's currently all in traditional. I don't know what is the best plan of attack there.
I mean, the best thing going forward is just I would convert that now, just get it taken care of. I would
too.
Zero, get that current IRA down to zero. Going forward, I would just, if you can, then you just want to make that contribution all at once each year, like a 6,000 contribution.
Yeah, but let's get the interior done first.
Right. I'm saying down the line.
Yeah. You
don't want to do $100 here or $100 there. You want to deposit it and convert it all at once.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I absolutely, I think that's smart. And listen, maybe the first call to the credit union about the line of credit. And then it's also, you can always establish a line of credit and not draw it down. Right. And so you can establish that, get it there, get the terms, all that, understand, and then start talking to contractors and see what the time horizon really is going to be. You can have this thing established. You can start taking care of some of the odds and ends in your financial life, like converting the IRA into a Roth IRA. You can stop doing the investments and start building up that cash account, get ready for the big project.
Okay.
Sound good?
That sounds great.
Okay. Do you have a financial question that you've kind of been thinking about? You're hemming and hawing. You're wondering. You're maybe getting a piece of financial advice that doesn't sit right with you and you'd like another opinion or two because, again, both Mark and I are certified financial planners. Then just go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we will bring you on the air with us. It's so great. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And, I think that some of the big topics that we cover all the time on this program, it kind of never gets boring for me because even though the question can be the same question, it's a different person. Imagine like being a doctor, like you see the similar kinds of things over and over, but it comes through differently because it's a different patient. So we love to hear from you. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our free weekly newsletter. It is free. It comes out every Friday, and Mark does a fantastic job with that. So JillOnMoney.com, the free weekly newsletter. Okay, now, what are we doing next? We are going to talk to Seth in Cleveland. And again, here's one of those main topics that we cover all the time. Let's see whether or not Seth should pay down his mortgage or not.
So I have a question I've been toggling with for about the last 6 months. I'm hoping to get your insight here, Jill. So a little bit about me. I'm 32, engaged to be married next year. No kids plans at the moment. I make about $125K per year. I'm saving in a Roth 401k about 18%, 10% from myself, and about 8% from my employer. I've got 9 months of expenses in a liquid savings account. And then on top of the retirement savings, I'm able to save between $1,500 to $2,000 per year.
Per year or per month?
Per month. Per year would not be good.
Well, it'll be better than zero, but but I would rather it be per month. So in the Roth, you're putting 10% in, and then they match 8%?
Yeah, so they're matching 3%, and then one time each year, they're putting in an additional 5% of my previous year's earnings. So
wow,
the company, they're giving me that nice 8%.
Wow, but you could ostensibly put more than 10% in if you wanted to, I mean.
You're 100% right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly. Okay. And you have $1,500 to $2,000 a month. What is your engaged to be? What does this person do for a living?
Yeah, so she's a teacher. She makes about $70K per year. And she also has, the Ohio pension plan for teachers.
Okay. And does she also have a 403B?
She does. Yep. And I believe it's 14% automatically.
That must be the pension, the 14%.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And how about any debt for either of you?
Nothing but the mortgage for both of us.
All right. The house is worth how much?
House is worth about $325,000.
How much mortgage is outstanding on this balance?
Yeah, about $215,000. So put a nice chunk down.
You did. And what about the interest rate?
Really low. It's only 3.3%.
3.3%, and it's 30 years?
Correct.
Okay, got it. So no student loans, no nothing. You like this house. You're going to stay in here for a while. This is all sounding pretty darn good. Is there anything that's nagging at you besides the $1,500 to $2,000 a month? Is there anything else that's outstanding that's on your mind financially?
Nothing nagging. And I guess kind of the purpose and the insight I was hoping to get from you was, this extra money, I hate debt, right? That's why I tried to wipe out the student loans as fast as I could. Any car debt, try to wipe out. And that's what's nagging at me is this extra $1,500 to $2,000 per month. I know mathematically it makes sense to probably invest that, get higher returnings. However, it helps me sleep a little bit better knowing I'm paying off debt and saving some of that interest. So
you've got to stop. Just stop. I mean, it is a tiny bit of a mortgage. You are saving lots of money. Paying this mortgage down is essentially like I get that you want this emotional relief, but you are thinking about this in a too simplistic of a way. That yes, you will get relief, but can I give you relief in another way? Which is, won't it be great for you to have lots of money saved that's accessible to you? I'm not saying you're going to have this mortgage for 30 years. I don't think you will. But for the next 10, 15 years, use this to your advantage. You get a mortgage interest deduction. You have this working for you. This 3.3, it's not even a 3.3% note. It's really after you get your tax deduction, because I'm sure that you are now going to be an itemizer, that you can actually deduct this, and maybe it's costing you 2.7%. I got to believe that you can earn more than 4% or so or 5% on your long-term investments. And so why would you be paying down this note? It's like this weird emotional relief that really doesn't actually help you. Have I guilted you into it or not?
I think you're getting me there. That's for sure. I need the tough love because I know mathematically it's a no-brainer, and it's just something in my head that says, get rid of debt. You hate debt. Get rid of it. So
wait a second. Were your parents some sort of screw-ups? Why are you so anti-debt? What happened?
Definitely didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so maybe some of that plays into it that, we didn't have a lot of funds to go do stuff, or definitely wasn't a lot of investment talk around the house. And so I just kind of stumbled probably upon some very conservative type of literature early on, and it's kind of stuck with me.
You know what's interesting, though, about that? I think of it the other way. Like, you think you're going to get relief from paying this off. And you think, well, I grew up with a little bit of scarcity mindset, right? Like, I didn't have a lot of stuff. Now, I think of it as, oh, great, you pay your house down, but then you don't have the money. You have a house and you can't go do stuff. And so if you actually want more flexibility, you want to save that money and not use it to pay down debt. Here's what I think I want you to do. Number one, the Roth 401k, right? I want you to max it out. Just max it out. So you've got $1,500 to $2,000 a month that's left over, right? Take 600 of that, or whatever it is, $550 a month, and max out your Roth 401k. That's just a really smart way to do things right now, okay? We'll get back to our conversation with Seth in just a minute. Are you wrestling with paying down your mortgage? Do you need some help? Sometimes we say to people that they should pay down their mortgage. You see, it's not the same advice for everyone. So give us a holler. JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are broadcasting from the Capital One Bank virtual studios. Capital One, this is Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet? Okay, now that we convinced Seth from Cleveland not to pay down his mortgage, what's next? Haha, this is where it gets fun. Okay, let's get back to our conversation with Seth. Now, the wife-to-be, she, I think, is using the pension plan, but I don't know if she's using a 403B. I don't know if she's using a retirement plan. If she wants to use a deferred compensation plan, she can use that through work. Otherwise, that other extra money that you have, the $1,500 to $2,000 a month, if you're really a wimp, and it sounds like you are, and I like that about people, you want to have a little more comfort instead of paying down the mortgage. Well, get up to 12 months of an emergency reserve fund. Let's do that first. And bump up your Roth 401k. And then you're probably going to have $1,000 a month. Mark, what do you want to do with the $1,000 a month that they have extra? How are we going to burn it up?
I would open a brokerage account.
That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking a brokerage account also because I think it will be good for you to know that you have some money that's been taxed that you can just start building. How are you doing with your investments? Do you feel comfortable investing on your own?
I should have probably mentioned that I do have about 15 in an individual brokerage account right now. So I've done a little bit, not a ton.
Fantastic. How have you invested? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, balanced primarily in ETFs and just a couple of small stocks just to have a little bit of fun. But primarily I'm in a few different balanced ETFs.
So basically, you want to have fun investing in nonsense, and yet you also want to pay down your debt. No. Okay, so I'm going to give you both. I'm going to let you have your brokerage account. The $1,000 a month goes in there extra. So here's what we're doing to make that money go away fast. We're going to make sure that you have, instead of 9 months of emergency reserve, be 12 months. Then you're going to bounce up the 401k, the Roth 401k. You're going to be at $19,500, the limit. That's number 2. Number 3, excess beyond that goes into the brokerage account. Whatever's in that brokerage account, okay, that you put in there, I think you can do, let's call it 5 to 10, let's say 10%. Go and play with 10% of that money. The rest of it, boring. Exchange traded funds or index funds. Keep it easy breezy, not too aggressive, so it's there for you. Won't it be fun for you to see how much money you make with that brokerage account when you could be earning a whopping 3.3% by paying down your mortgage versus what you're going to make in the next 10 or 15 years in that brokerage account? You're going to kill it. It's going to be fantastic. So how do you feel about that as your game plan?
I love it. I love the idea of investing. So instead of paying off interest, we're going to make 4x that and invest in the brokerage account.
I didn't say 4x, mister. I said maybe 2.5x. So calm down. Let me ask you another question. Who's paying for the wedding?
We are. So I've got, luckily we've got a nice fund for the wedding set aside.
How much does it cost to have a wedding in Ohio?
It's going to be about $35,000.
Do you feel like you're spending a dopey amount of money, Seth? Or do you feel like, did you get obviously don't share this with your intended, but like, was this your like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this? Or are you feeling psyched about it?
Yeah, feeling psyched. I feel like still young, but obviously not like the 22, 23. So we were able to sock away the money. Mm-hmm. We have a really cool venue over the water. So looking forward to celebrating. So yeah, feeling comfortable.
All right. Well, that's good. How many people?
About 125.
Wow.
It's a lot. I don't even know that many people.
You do, but you just don't like them.
The only thing I was going to say about this house, Seth, is you're young, you're 32. I know you think this is going to be your forever house, and I thought that about the place where I live right now. But 4 or 5 years later, I know for sure we're moving. So just keep that in mind. Things could change, so you don't want to pay it down. And turns out you do stay there, you can always just pay this thing down later on.
That's a great piece of advice. That you think I'm in the house I want to be in, but who knows? Who does know? And this will give you flexibility, and you'll have that big fat brokerage account. And, wait until you get all the money from your wedding, pop it in the do people did you register? I mean, that's the other thing. When you're 30 something years old, you already got stuff. So then you register and we're going to get more stuff. What are you doing?
That's exactly right. We already got the sheets and the nice silver china, whatever. Yeah, we just need money. Just please bring money.
Did you register somewhere anyway? Because you know what sucks as someone who's been married and divorced twice? When someone is like, oh, I was going to go to your registry, but I wanted to give you this other thing. And you're like, well, why did I register if I wanted you to go to Bloomingdale's and pick something out that I don't like? You know?
That's exactly
that's really the issue. Did you register or not?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, I love it. Yep, so you're going for the cash.
Call it honeymoon fund, right?
I like that. Mark, I'll be Venmoing you your wedding present. I'm just going to go the regular system. All right. Seth from Cleveland, Ohio, send us pictures after you get married. All right.
Will do, Joe.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. And it's great. I feel very comfortable that you are going to be happy with this decision. So I'm glad we could convert you away from the pay down mortgage camp into the invest the money and watch that money grow. So good luck to you.
Thanks so much for the help. I appreciate it.
Okay. Now you heard the conversation. How does this apply to you? I don't know. This is why I need you to go to the website, to JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button, because each of you has a unique situation, and our advice may change based on your circumstances. So JillOnMoney.com, please hit the Contact Us button and let us know if you'd like to come on the air. We will be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life, and we do that by answering your questions. You can ask those questions through our website, JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and there's a contact button. And that's what John did. He writes, I'm trying to figure out how I should invest for my retirement. I just started making decent money. And I'm 37, but I have only about $15,000 in my 401k. Should I use a 401k, a Roth IRA, or invest my money into something else? Couple of questions, John. First of all, do you have a match that is part of your 401k plan? Because if you do, I think that would be your best bet, is to use the plan up to the match. Second, do you have a Roth option in addition to a traditional 401k? Because maybe you can just use the Roth 401k through work and not worry about a Roth IRA. And the other aspect of this is, what's the plan look like? Is it a good plan? Is it one that has very expensive funds? Or is it a fund family that has really cheap index funds? Generally speaking, I think your best bet would be to stay in the 401k, put as much money as you can. Really, this is like incredibly important right now, that we kind of supercharge your investing and your retirement contributions. This year, in 2022, your maximum contribution into a retirement account, a 401k, is $20,500. So, there is I don't know how much money you're making, but that's a lot of money to be socking away. It would be great if we could get you to do that. But again, I'd love to know a little bit more about that. I'm hopeful that you can use a Roth 401k and try to put as much as you can into that, right up to that limit of $20,500. I think you'll be really happy you did. Okay, send us a follow-up if I've missed something. If you have a question, just go to JillOnMoney.com. We thank you so much for listening. Lift someone up today. It would make that person feel better, and it will make you feel better. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer. And thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.